Make sure this is off. Stand up, New York Giant fans. I was going to make a video on this today, and I go on Twitter, and I see all these conflicting reports regarding the, ramifications of the contract with Nate Solder, with him opting out, and I kind of wanted to go over all the information that I have to give to you guys, and kind of break down some of the players that the New York Giants could potentially look at if they decide to spend some of this money. Now, supposedly, if that people are worried that the money may carry over till next year. I'm not 100% sure how that works. I would think if you sign a guy to a one-year deal, it wouldn't affect next year's cap, which is what most of these players would be looking for, a guy like Logan Ryan. But if that is the case, here's what I'm going to say. First and foremost, if by signing a guy to a one-year deal, it's going to affect next year's cap in some way, shape, or form, alter Nate Solder's salary and hurt our salary cap for next year, I would advise to stay away from that. Obviously, we're thinking about the future. We're not just thinking about this year. But if it has no bearing on next year's cap, I have no problem signing a guy to a one-year contract. And I kind of wanted to go over some of the things that I've read. I wanted to go over some of the guys that the New York Giants could potentially target. And I wanted to go over, from what I've seen, the cap space that the New York Giants have. In addition to that, Nate Solder's contract going forward for the New York Giants, and at least as of now, according to Sport Track, what the dead cap space will be if the New York Giants decide to cut him in the 2021 season after he's opted out. Obviously, as far as Nate Solder goes, Nate Solder, he made the right decision. Like I said yesterday, the guy's got a sick kid. No reason to play this year for him. The guy's made more than enough money. Normally I'd make a video out of this, but I thought it was a good topic of discussion that I kind of wanted to go over with you guys, talk about it, especially being that it's kind of very confusing. And I don't want to be spreading any false information, so kind of wanted to go over everything that I've seen, everything that I've read, and maybe some of you guys have heard something different. Maybe you guys have more information on the topic than I do. Dre Mac, man, thanks so much for love, man. I really appreciate that, man. Keep it up. He says, man, thank you so much for being a great subscriber to the channel. I really appreciate that. I'm going to field some of you guys' questions. What's going on, Yuri? What's going on, Jawad? What's going on, Gold Simmons? What's going on, Chad? Lake Nona, Jahab, thank you guys so much for being here. What's going on, NFL News Show? What do you think of the defense if we get Clownie? I'm going to get into Clownie. I personally don't think we're going to get him. But I do think he'd fit the system well. Here's the thing with Clownie. I've read that Clownie turned down $18 million from the Browns. Somebody told me that. I don't know how accurate that is. But if he did, he ain't signing here with the New York Giants. The Giants right now only have about $15 million in cap space, according to Sport Track. I'm going to get into all the figures with you guys, though. I think Logan Ryan's a little bit more realistic if they're going to spend some of that money. The other guy we're going to talk about is Graham Gano. Graham Gano was cut today by the Carolina Panthers. And, of course, as New York Giants fans, we all know about Graham Gano. Graham Gano made a 63-yarder. Bad Dog fainted live on stream during that game. That was before I was live on YouTube. And Gano might be a guy. Now, he was hurt last year. He got hurt. I think he only played 12 games in 18. And he missed the remainder of the season. 2019, he didn't play at all. According to Matt Rule, the coach for the Carolina Panthers, Gano looks healthy. And if that's the case, maybe he's a guy you take a flyer on. I think the reason the Panthers cut him were for cap implications. They're a team that's not really looking to compete this year. They probably figure we could use that money somewhere else. Maybe they're trying to free up cap as as they're preparing for the 2021 salary cap. That may be the case, but maybe Gano is a guy that you take a flyer on. Obviously, we already signed, I can't remember the guy's name, Constanaz, the guy from the Jets and the Cardinals, who's not a very good kicker. Maybe you bring him in to compete with him during training camp. A lot of New York Giants fans brought that up on Twitter. That could make a lot of sense. But I want to get into all the cap and everything else. I'm going to talk to you guys for a little bit, and then I'll get into all the information that I have. What's going on, Jawad? Why'd they cut him then? I think it's for money purposes, Pasha. I think it's for money purposes. You're the man. I appreciate that, MMKG, man. Big Blue Wrecking Crew. What's going on, my man? Diehard Giants fan, and now showing Torres. 157 people are in here, man. You guys are amazing. Thank you to everybody that, like I always say, thank you to everybody that always supports my channel. And I just felt it was more appropriate to go live for this because yesterday I was like, I kind of felt bad. I don't want to be spreading false information. So I was like, I just want to go over everything that I know, and maybe you guys know something, and we'll talk about exactly how everything works. But let's jump into some of the stuff that I was able to gather. The first thing I was able to pull up was this. Given the CBA amendment agreed upon by the NFL and the NFL Players Association, the Giants could roll over the opt-out cap savings to 2021, allowing them to use it on Solder and not risk having to move things around to get under a potentially decreased cap number due to lost revenue brought about by COVID-19. All right, I'm going to get to the rest of the stuff that I know. I want to talk about that first. Mike Nixon, man, thanks so much for letting me in. I really appreciate that. He says, Entertainer, how you doing, brother? Are you streaming? I am streaming the Mets game tonight. Yes, I am. Mike, man, thanks so much for letting me in. I really appreciate that. So let's talk about that real quick. So basically what it's saying here, given the CBA amendment agreed upon by the NFL and the Players Association, the Giants could roll over the opt-out cap savings to 2021. Now, here's my question with that. How does that work? And maybe somebody in the chat knows. How does that work? Does that mean with the $10 million that they saved, the 9.9, we're going to get into the exact specifics, but the $9.9 million that the New York Giants saved, does that mean if they spend it, even if it's on a one-year deal, that does not then roll over to the next year, and then Solder still carries a $16 million dead cap hit, which he would have carried this year? Because if that's the case, I think it would be in the Giants' best interest not to spend this money. They'd be better off not spending it, because next year, I'm going to show you guys what Solder's contract is as of now according to Sport Track. Now, if they could spend that money and it's not going to affect next year's cap at all, the future of this franchise, I'm all for it. But if they have to save that $9.9 million so it doesn't affect next year's cap, I think that might be the wiser decision. But we'll get into some of the chat. They should cancel the season. We'll see, Joe Black. I don't think Entertainer, but you may have a point there. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. With the lost revenue, I say, well, that's the other thing you got to think about. With the lost revenue, obviously the cap may be cut. Now, the other thing you could think about, say you were to sign a guy like Logan Ryan. Say you were to sign a guy like Jadeveon Clownie, and we're going to get into all the free agents that they could potentially look at. But say you were to sign one of those guys, and on a one-year deal, if you let them go, say you sign Clownie on a one-year deal, next year he signs with somebody else, you get a comp pick for that. You would probably get compensated a third-round comp pick for that. So that's another thing that has to come into play here when talking about some of these players that the New York Giants could potentially bring in. But I want to reiterate, if by signing any of these players, it's going to affect next year's cap, even if it's a one-year deal, I want no part of it. I think that would be a poor decision. I would go with what we've got. We're also going to get into who could replace Nate Solder, what I think the best course of action would be there. Obviously, Andrew Thomas is going to go over to the left side. That goes without saying. Andrew Thomas is going to be the left tackle now. That was a debate before Nate Solder opted out, and we'll see how that all plays out. Is Leonard Williams out the door yet? Leonard Williams signed the franchise tag. Leonard Williams playing with the Giants this year. We're going to go over all the players. Hey, Entertainer, I have a question. Would this ruling Andrew Thomas' career now that Nate is opting out? What do you mean? Andrew Thomas is going to play left tackle now. And, some people were worried. I watched a couple of videos yesterday. Some people are worried that, without Nate Solder, he's not there to mentor him. And I guess that's a fair concern, I suppose. But like what I said in my video yesterday, I think is pretty true. Nate Solder, in my opinion, wasn't going to play very well this year. If he didn't play well last year, a lot of people said it was because of his kid. What do you think he's going to be thinking about the entire season this year? Right? It would have been even worse with the COVID and everything else. He'd be worried about getting his kid sick. So I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about the loss in terms of production. I know he's a leader. He's a captain. He's a great guy. They have some depth at that tackle position. I wouldn't spend the money on a tackle if they're going to spend money. I'd spend it elsewhere, possibly on a center. People have brought up Britt. You could look at the defense. But like I said, if it's going to affect next year's cap, you want to keep cheap moves then at that point. They had about $5.5 million before this happened, so they still have a little bit of money to maneuver if they want to, but I don't want to be affecting next year's cap. I appreciate that, James, man. Thank you so much for being here, man. Fleming, Pert, or Gates at right tackle? Yeah, right now, I would say Fleming is probably the favorite. Fleming's been around the league. I think he's the favorite to start at the right tackle right now. Now, that could change based on training camp. I don't think Parrott's going to have enough time to prove himself. There's no preseason games. I think Fleming's the favorite going in. Gates could certainly win it, though. Gates did a good job last year in limited time with the New York Giants. I think I like Fleming the most, though, because Gates, you can maneuver him around. If a guard goes down, you could put him at the guard. Center goes down, maybe you could put him at the center. Same for the tackle. I think he's more valuable off the bench. I think Fleming, you're paying him $4.5 million. I think he's the favorite going in to be the starting tackle. And I think Poley's the favorite to be the center. But I wanted to get into some of the other things I was able to pull up for you guys. I just wanted to go over some of the salary cap just to show you that it's updated on Sport Track. These are the top 8 players on the New York Giants as of now. So as you see, right there, Marcus Golden is included in this for $5 million. That's what it's going against the cap. And then you got all the top guys. Leonard Williams, Kevin Zeitler, Golden Tate, Blake Martinez, so on and so forth. And then I pulled down the rest of it. These are all the players on the New York Giants. I didn't pull down every single player, but I wanted to show you that it's an updated cap list with all the rookies. And according to Sport Track, as of now, That gray line is what they have in cap space, $14.677 million. That's after the opt-out by Nate Solder. I'm going to get into the contract specifics with Nate Solder, go over that with you guys as well, and then talk about, like I said, maybe somebody knows something more than me. What's going on? Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. What's going on? What's going on? Keep that cap for next year, dude. That's what I'm talking about, Sarity. That's my question. If we sign somebody, even if it's a one-year deal, does that affect next year's cap? Because if it does, I'm completely with you. If it's a one-year deal and it just falls off the books and it doesn't affect next year's cap, I would use the money. But if it's going to affect next year's cap, no, you don't do that. You don't want to ruin the future for a team that's really not ready to win a Super Bowl right now anyway. And that's what I've gathered from people on Twitter. They seem to think that it would affect next year's cap even if it was a one-year deal. What's going on, Hot Take Hoggy? Thanks for popping in the stream. What's going on, Henny God? Thanks for being here, my man. Chris, the lack of content is killing me. We need training camp so bad. Simon, I can't wait, man. I can't wait for training camp. It's going to be around the corner, man. It's going to be around the corner. Like I said, I was going to make a video on this, but I didn't want to make a video of something that I wasn't 1,000% sure about, and I'm hearing conflicting things on this. Bringing another corner or pass rusher. If I was going to spend the money, I think it'd be a corner. I don't think you're going to get Clownie here for the money that we have. I would look for a corner, and I still might look for a corner, even if you're not going to spend that $10 million. You could, like I've talked about in the past, you could bring in a guy like Carr. He's not going to cost much. You could bring in a veteran corner. Maybe we should sign a one-year deal with a wide receiver. Yeah, there's a couple of cheap wide receivers, Bavith. I'm going to go over some of the top free agents. There's a couple of cheap wide receivers out there. Maybe they could do that on a cheap deal. Tana tripping. I don't know what Saturday means. I didn't say spend the money, so how am I tripping? I don't know how I'm tripping. Spend the money on the Hogs. What's going on, Jersey, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. Logan Ryan doesn't work. Well, here's what I'll say. Why wouldn't Logan Ryan work? You know, a lot of people say Logan Ryan's a slot guy. He won't work. Well, if your plan is to move Julian Love to the second cornerback spot, maybe he would work. So I wouldn't be against him, but if it's going to affect next year's cap, I am. I want Jalapeno in either Carr or Ryan. I don't think Jalapeno's coming. I don't trust Jalapeno in the starting lineup, especially coming off an injury. He sucked last year. Our center's a big problem this year. It's a big problem. I don't trust any of those guys. I am streaming the Mets tonight. Let's see what we got here. I'll take Odell back before Flash Gordon. Odell is better. We're not getting Odell back. Odell ain't coming back here. Gordon ain't coming here either, though. There's no way we're getting Gordon. This is a team that's cleaned up the locker room. We're not bringing in Josh Gordon. No chance we bring in Josh Gordon. Let's see what we got here. Christopher, do you expect more 2 tight end packages to get? Yes. I definitely think we're gonna have. I definitely think we're gonna have more 2 tight end packages. I've been asked that a few times, Bavith. You know, they've got, yes, Caden Smith's going to be out there a lot. Toilo's going to be out there a lot in running situations at the goal line. Yes, I definitely think we're going to have more 2 tight end sets this year. I think you'll see some more I formation as well, as I've talked about in the past. I expect the fullback to be better utilized with Elijah Penny. He was only out there, I think, 13% of the time last year. I think you're going to see a lot more packages where you have 2 tight ends. You're going to see some more I formation. Jones lining up under center, 100%. Who should play center? I think it's going to be Pulley. With the shortened offseason, I think it's going to be Pulley. There's no preseason games. Lemieux's never played the position at college. I don't see how he could win it. Pulley's the only, unless they sign somebody, Pulley's the only guy that's played the position in the NFL. But now I just want to go briefly over the salary for Nate Solder as of now. This according to Sport Track. And keep in mind, originally, Nate Solder's contract was for $19.5 this year against the cap. Now, of course, you know, there were ways that it was distributed, but it was $19.5 against the cap this year with a $16.5 million dead cap hit, and it was $20 million against the cap the following year with a $6 million dead cap hit. So next year, if he didn't opt out, he would have been $20 against the cap, $6 million dead cap hit, $14 million if you've cut him. Now the way it works out is it's 9.6 that we had to pay him, and whatever it worked out to be, we saved $9.9 million towards this year's cap this year. And now the following 2 years, it's 16.4 and 14 as opposed to 19.5 and 20, which works out to $30 million as opposed to 40, but that's the $9.9 million. Now the question is, if you spend that $9.9 million, does it go back to the way it was? And does that $6.5 million dead cap hit suddenly, once again, become a $16 million dead cap hit? Because if that's the case, you don't spend the money. Next year, if you leave it as is, Solder's going to save you $10 million if you cut him. So if that's the case, if it goes back to the way it was in 2020, I wouldn't touch the money. If it doesn't, and it just falls off the books with a one-year contract, which makes sense to me, I would go out there and I'd try to bring in some pieces. So that's the question I have. But this salary cap stuff is complicated. It's very complicated, the salary cap, and that's why it gets confusing at times, especially when something like this happens, and I want to make sure I got it right. And like I said, maybe some of you guys have the answers to this. Fleming is good at the right. I think that Fleming is going to be the starting right tackle. Am I super confident? No. But do I think do I think he's a big downgrade from Nate Solder? Not really. Just in my humble opinion. Now, what some people may argue is now by doing this, you're forcing Andrew Thomas to go over to the left side. That's something that you might have to worry about. Edward Chan says, I just want to save the money. Well, yeah, like I said, if a one-year deal is going to go against next year's cap, you don't spend it. I agree with that. But if it's not, why not? Why not try to help the team this year if it's not going to affect next year's cap? If you can use that $10 million. So that's my question. But I don't expect Clownie. I'm gonna bring up some of the top free agents that the New York Giants could look at as well. Let's see what we got here. Andy Garcia says number 8 sucks. All right. Keep cap for Saquon extension. I've been a big proponent of extending Saquon. And like I said, I'm not signing anybody to more than a one-year deal. Not signing anybody to more than a one-year deal if it doesn't affect next year's cap. If I could sign Logan Ryan to a one-year deal for $10 million and it's not going to affect next year's cap, I'd be interested. Let's see what we got here. Crazy that we're only 5 weeks away from the season. I know, John. It's coming up quick, man. We're only five weeks away if the season starts on time. Hopefully it does. I am live. New York for life. I am live. I decided to go live because I didn't want to make a video on this just in case I wasn't 100% positive about it. So I said I'll go live. I'll talk with you guys about it. Just get Britt and move Gates to right tackle. Forget Clownie. I'd be okay with Britt. Now, the thing is, he's had injury problems as well, but at least he's an experienced center. I think Fleming will start, but I would prefer Gates. I think Fleming's going to start too. We're paying him $4.5 million, or at least I think he's going to get the first opportunity. And like I said, Gates is more valuable. You could plug him in at different spots on the line. So I think that's his wealth. Let's see what we got here. Am I doing fantasy content? I'll probably do a little bit of fantasy content. What's going on, Gary? Chris, could I argue Wilson is the best quarterback since Mahomes has better offensive talent coaching around him? What's up, Happy? Thanks for being here, my man. And thank you for posting my movie channel. I appreciate that. What's up, DJB? Listen, man, Wilson puts the team on his back. Wilson puts the team on his back in Seattle. Mahomes definitely has a better support system. Andy Reid alone, he has a better support system. You can make that argument. I would probably still take Mahomes, but you could definitely make that argument. Wilson, to me, is the clear-cut number 2. A lot of people would say Jackson, he won the MVP last year. I've got it Mahomes 1, Wilson 2, Jackson 3. But, yeah, I think you could make the argument that Wilson at least means... It's close. He means just as much to Seattle as Mahomes means to Kansas City. Because I think you could put a decent quarterback in there, like you've seen with Alex Smith, and Andy Reid could get 11 wins out of him. You take Russell Wilson off the Seahawks, they suck. They might win 4 games if Russell Wilson's not on the Seahawks. So you can make that argument for sure that he's a more valuable player to his team. I would still go with Mahomes. The guy's a freak. And thank you for the likes, man. I appreciate that, man. How many years do you think Saquon gets on his contract? I think Saquon is going to get at least 4. At least a 4-year extension after this year if he proves he's healthy. And I expect them to extend him after this year if he's healthy. Like I've said time and time again, I'd be shocked if they don't. You look at every top running back, they all get extended after 3 years. And I think the Giants will do it. I'd be surprised if they don't. If he's healthy, he's got to play a full season, prove he's healthy. And if he does, I do think he'll be extended. I would say at least 4 years, maybe 5. And I expect him to get Christian McCaffrey money, if not a little bit more. But the caveat to that, Pavit, is this. If the salary cap goes down, that all changes. Because everybody's contracts are worth less. When you have $200 million to spend, 10% of the cap is $20 million. When you have $170 million to spend, 10% of the cap is $17 million. So it could change. And if that happens, more likely than not, Saquon Barkley would not want to extend. So this is all predicated on what is going to happen with the salary cap based on what's going on with the COVID. If the salary cap goes down, Saquon Barkley, if he's smart, doesn't look for an extension. He plays off that rookie deal in the 4th year of his deal. So we'll see how everything plays out. And I appreciate that, Matt Sullivan, man. Thanks so much for popping in the stream. They can backload stuff, although that ain't. I don't like backloading. I hate backloading. I would much, especially with the way the team is now. You're gonna need salary cap space for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley in the future. You want to leave that open and available. Q Dog, man, what's going on, my man? Thank you so much for the love, man. And he says, "What's up, entertainer? Celebrating my 9th year wedding anniversary here in Las Vegas. I think the Giants should save that money for late season needs." First off, man, congratulations. Q Dog's been with my channel forever. And he's a huge Daniel Jones fan. Hope you're enjoying that Daniel Jones jersey. And hopefully you're enjoying your 9th year wedding anniversary in Vegas. And thank you so much for love, man. And yeah, that's another argument that you can make. You'll have cap space available in season if you have needs. So there's a lot of ways that the New York Giants could go here with the money that's been provided to them. Let's see what we got here. What's going on, Mohammed, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, my man. But another thing I wanted to show you guys was some of the free agents. A lot of you guys always ask me about the free agents. I was able to pull up some of the top free agents that are going to be available, that are still on the market right now. Like I said, we may not have the available cap for some of these players based on the structuring of the contract and how it may affect next year's salary cap. But Jadeveon Clowney's at the top of the list. Larry Wolford is second. Wolford's a guard. Some people have suggested maybe he could play center. I doubt he would sign here to play center. Logan Ryan, the cornerback. Everson Griffin, the edge, who doesn't necessarily fit our scheme. I think he'd probably rather play in a 4-3. Josh Gordon, of course, the wide receiver. People have talked about him. The fit there is with Joe Judge. Joe Judge has coached him with the New England Patriots. But I don't see it. It doesn't seem like the type of player that the New York Giants would bring in. Denard, a veteran cornerback. He's been somewhat underwhelming. Maybe you get him on the cheap. Eric Reed, Damon Stacks Harrison. Doesn't fit here. Mike Daniels, Drake Kirkpatrick. So those are some of the top 10 available free agents right now. After that, you got Freeman, the running back, Rashad Jones. A couple of notable guys here that maybe the Giants could be interested in. Tremont Williams, Cameron Wake. He's an older edge. He'd probably be very cheap, but I don't see really any. After we got Marcus Golden, I don't see any value in that. Cordy Glenn is the best available tackle on the market, but I don't think we should sign another tackle based on our depth there. Justin Britt is the most notable center that's on the open free agency market, who we've already talked about. He has a little bit of an injury history, but that's maybe somebody that they could look at. Brandon Carr, number 33, is a guy I've talked about. He's a veteran corner who's never been injured. Not that he's great. Taylor Gabriel's a pretty cost-effective wide receiver. Maybe they could look at. Those are just some of the available names on the open market that the New York Giants could entertain bringing in, with the newly found cap space. What's going on, New Jersey Jake, man? Thanks so much for popping in the stream, man. Yeah, I know that Wolford opted out. Oh, he opted. Oh, I didn't know that he opted out with the virus. That I didn't know. Okay, I missed that news. They released him. I didn't know that he opted out with the virus. So okay, so there you go. What's up, Ravon? Thanks for popping in the stream. Don't bring anyone in. The season is not happening. Save the cap and carry it forward. Well, yeah, obviously, if the season doesn't happen, you say yeah. But here's the thing: if you bring somebody in and the season doesn't happen, that's not going to go against your cap. But I suppose if you sign him to a one-year deal, it would carry over to the next year. But if it's a cheap enough deal, why not? So that's the way I look at it. Let's see what we got here. Yes, Josh Gordon, I don't care if my receivers smoke as long as they can still run and catch. A lot of people. What's going on, Tippy Times, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. Delano, what's going on, man? Yeah, I figured I'd pop on live for a little bit today, hang out with you guys for an hour and a half, talk to you guys. I haven't done a Giants Q&A in a while. And I was gonna, like I said, I was gonna make a video over this, but I just thought it was more appropriate to go live and talk to you guys. And I'll be live for the Met game tonight, guys. Let's see what we got here. Chris, since we got better slot guys than outside receivers, you think Garrett will change the Coryell scheme to utilize them more? Good question. Maybe a little bit. I mean, I expect to see Tate on the outside more so than Shepard. I think Shepard will be used almost exclusively in the slot if he's healthy. But I expect to see Tate more on the outside. He proved he could play it pretty well last year. I don't think he'll change his scheme, though. Maybe a little bit, like I said. But I still think they're going to try to throw balls down the field. And that's why I think Darius Slayton fits it very well, along with all the tight ends. The tight ends have always thrived in that system. Let's see what we got here. What's going on, Word? What's going on? Basketball back tonight. I know, Mike. I'm not doing basketball, though. I'm going to do playoff basketball. I'm not going to do regular season basketball. I'm a Knicks fan. I don't really care about anybody else. The playoff streams are a lot of fun, though. You guys always ask me to do that, so I'll definitely be doing some playoff basketball games. I'm not going to be doing the regular season games. I'll be doing the playoffs. I'm going to continue to do the Mets. Chris, what are your thoughts on Joe? No, I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about it. Let's see what we got here. I'm a bit surprised you're not covering the official return of the NBA season since it resumes tonight. Yeah, Delano, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a Knicks fan. I mean, you want to talk about it a little bit, we'll talk about it, but I could care less about the rest of the teams in the NBA, to be completely honest with you. I love the Knicks. One thing I'll talk about, Mike Woodson. I was going to make a video on that. Mike Woodson is back with the New York Knicks, supposedly. That's what I heard. I posted that on Twitter. Woodson's going to be on the coaching staff for the New York Knicks, so that's nice. I think that's a really good balance with him and Thibodeau. I know that you weren't a big fan of the Thibodeau signing. I like bringing Woodson back. He brings an offensive mentality to a defensive-minded coach. But like I said, I'm going to cover the playoff basketball. I don't really care about the regular season. You got the regular season now for another 2 weeks. Meaningless games to me. The playoffs are pretty much already locked in. Once we get to the playoffs, that's when I'll get into it. Oh, Cruzon, man. Thanks so much for love, man. I really appreciate that, man. He says, imagine if we didn't draft Thomas at... Oh, God, I posted that on Twitter yesterday, Cruzon. And a number of my subscribers posted that in the comments yesterday, too. He says, imagine if we didn't draft Thomas at 4 and instead drafted Simmons. We would be screwed right now. At least our GM was thinking. 100%. You know, for all the Simmons people out there, and there were a lot of you guys, and there probably still are, I think you should be very happy right now that we elected to go with Andrew Thomas. Maybe you prefer Jedrick Wills, but I think you should be very happy right now that we elected to go with a tackle. Because with Nate Solder opting out, the New York Giants offensive line right now on the tackle positions, if we didn't draft Andrew Thomas, you would have Nick Gates, an undrafted free agent, and a 4th-round draft pick, swing tackle, as your 2 starting tackles right now for Daniel Jones. So, yeah, maybe Isaiah Simmons would have helped the defense. You would have also had to order a coffin for Daniel Jones. So, that draft pick looks even smarter now that this happened. And maybe the New York Giants anticipated this was possible, due to Nate Solder's situation. And maybe that played someone into it. But I thought all along that the tackle was always the way to go. But this just cements it. Let's see what we got here. I still want Simmons, Pierce, Armstead. I know people love defense. Listen, I love defense too, but it was the right year to take a tackle. Bro, we should spend the money on Logan Ryan. Like I said at the top of the video, if it does not affect next year's cap, which I have to, that I'm not 100% sure on. If it's a 1-year deal that does not affect next year's cap, I'm all aboard. I'm all aboard doing whatever you can with that money to help improve this team this year. The Giants obviously have a hole in that secondary now with DeAndre Baker. We can't anticipate he's going to be back. You bring in Logan Ryan. He could play on the outside. He could play on the inside. You have some versatility there. You have versatility with Julian Love. You have versatility with Darnay Holmes. You can mix and match with the corners. I wouldn't be against that. Logan Ryan, to me, of the big-name guys, makes the most sense if he's willing to come for the right price and on a 1-year deal. But if by signing him to that 1-year deal, it affects next year's cap, which some people are implying, I'm not doing it. I'm going to keep the cap the way it is. Nate Solder right now, you save $10 million if you cut him, as opposed to only saving $3 if you keep him, if it goes back to the way it was. So that has to be taken into account. Will McKinney do a Jamal Adams? I mean, there's no way of knowing that. McKinney hasn't played yet. McKinney, we know nothing about McKinney. The one thing I know about McKinney is he's a hard worker. He's intelligent. That's all I know about him. I hope not. Now, here's the thing. Jamal Adams was a top 5-6 pick. McKinney's a second-round draft pick. It's a little bit different. McKinney, in my opinion, and I hope he is, I'm not banking on him being as good as Jamal Adams either. So I don't think he's going to be able to command the money that Jamal Adams was commanding. And I'll worry about that when the time comes. He's in his rookie year, hasn't played a down of football yet. I'm not too worried about it right now. And we got 300 people in here, man. Thank you guys so much, man, for all the love, man. Anybody that may be new to the channel, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell. I'll be live for the Mets game tonight. But I want to go live for this, talk about this with you guys for a little bit, being that it's kind of a big storyline right now. And I didn't want to talk about something that I wasn't completely 1,000% sure about. So I want to go live and talk about it with you guys. Why do you love the offensive linemen so much? Why do I love offensive linemen so much? Because that's how you win football games. That's why I love offensive linemen so much. The offensive linemen are the players that get no credit. They get no credit whatsoever. Quarterback goes out there, throws 4 touchdowns. He has all the time in the world to throw the football. The quarterback gets all the credit. The offensive lineman gets none of it. To have a successful football team year in and year out, you have to be able to block for your quarterback. You have to be able to open up holes for the running game. When the New York Giants were at their best, when I was watching the team, they had one of the strongest offensive lines in the sport. A strong offensive line helps the defense, and the defense helps the offense, so on and so forth. I believe in building a sound defense and a very sound offensive line, and everything else will fall into place. That's my belief with football, and the New York Giants had to get back to that. They had no youth on the offensive line. They had very little talent. Other than Will Hernandez, they needed a tackle. They haven't had a tackle in a decade. You got a franchise quarterback. You got to be able to protect him. Clownie only wants $13 million right now. We only got about $15 million in space. So we'll see. Like I said, if it affects next year's cap, I'm not doing it. But if it doesn't, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. Nick Gates was ranked the 6th guard in the NFL by PFF. Limited playing time, though. He only played guard for, 2 games? I think he played a little tackle as well. I'm not going to read too much into that, but I do like Gates. I like Gates' value. You can move him around. You can play him on any position on the line. I do like Gates. Spend now if no 21 impact. As a Mets fan, do you think the constant disappointments has made you a stronger person? Listen, man, I take pride in being a Mets fan, Chris. I really do. I take pride in being a Mets fan. I love my team. I love all my Met fans. We're in it together, man. That's the way I look at it. So, has it made me a stronger person? Here's what I'll say, man. New York Met fans are true fans. They're diehard fans. They're with their team through the thick and thin. Whether they're horrible, whether they're great, they support their team. It's kind of like the Knicks, same thing. So I'm proud to be a Mets fan. I know a lot of people make fun of the Mets, Yankee fans, and we can't compete with the Yankees. I'll be the first to tell you that. They got 27 titles, but I'm proud to be a Mets fan. Maybe it made me a stronger person. I don't know, but I love my New York Mets. Malik, what's going on, Malik, man? How you doing, my man? Blue Jacket says, who do you want the Knicks to get in the draft? Point guard. But there's no way I can answer that until I know where we're picking. But I want a point guard. Hayes, I want a point guard. But once I know the pick that we're going to have, I'll be able to give you a better answer to that. What's up, Luis, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. How to turn the Giants around. 1, bring back Flowers. 2, bring back Odell. 3, bring back Shermer. 4, get rid of our cap and back. That's a great idea, Jake. I think Jake, is that Jerry Reese? Is that Jerry Reese, Jake? Did Jerry Reese take your account over? Let's see what we got here. What's up, Dana? I've been really busy lately. Good to be back. Hunter, man, thank you so much for being here, man. You never got to apologize, man. I know people got lives off of YouTube, but I appreciate you being here, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. Just hanging out here for about an hour and a half today, talking to you guys, talking about the recent events with the New York Giants, and then I'll be live tonight for the Mets game. So thank you to everybody for being here. Chris, how do you answer that stupid question of only people why you love Hogs so much? Guys who ask that only play fan. Well, Clocks, I get it. You know, a lot of people are defense first. Defense first, and I get that. And defense is just as important as anything else. But if you can't protect your quarterback, you're not winning football games. If you can't move the football, you're not winning football games. What helps you move the football? The offensive line. So that's always been my mentality. Strong offensive line helps the rest of the team. Meat, man, thank you so much for love, man. I appreciate it. Yo, Dana, awesome to see you streaming this early. Why won't the NFL do like the NBA and make like bubbles of each conference? Maybe safer for the players. It's a great idea. Here's the issue with that, Meat. Here's the issue with that. 1, the NFL, there's a lot more players. NBA, you're only talking 12 men on a roster. NFL, you're talking 4 times that. 53 players, right? Plus all the guys on the practice squad. But you're talking 1,600 athletes as opposed to 400. So that's a big difference. 4 times the amount of athletes, right? 2, you're talking 5-6 months, including playoffs. The NBA is only going to be about 2 months, 2.5 months. So it's a much longer time to ask these athletes to be away from their families. The one thing that I think the NFL should have done was do what MLB did. They should have ripped up the schedule. They should have said, you're going to play geographically close to where you're from. You look at the Mets, you look at the Yankees. The Mets are playing the AL East and the NL East. Nobody else. They're not going out west. They're not going to the Central. I think the NFL should have done the same thing. They should have played teams like the Giants should have played, obviously, their division. Outside of, you got to play Dallas. But outside of that, you play the Jets, you play the Patriots, you play the Bills. They should have kept it close. That I think they could have done. As far as the bubble goes, I don't think that's realistic. Oh, man, Trey, man, thanks so much for love, man. I really appreciate it. Might be a bit early, but what are your thoughts on Dylan Moses out of Alabama for the Nets? Yeah, it's a little early, man. I have not done a ton of research. I've heard about Dylan Moses. I know a lot of people like him. I have to do more research before I can give you a concrete answer. Here's what I'll say about the draft right now for the New York Giants. Without looking at tape for all of these players, I know a lot of people like Surtain as well. I think the Giants in the first round right now are going to be looking at a coverage linebacker, an edge rusher, or a cornerback in the first round. I think that's what you're looking at. I know Giants fans don't want to hear cornerback, but with DeAndre Baker probably off the team, who do we really have? You got James Bradbury on a 3-year deal. He's going to have 2 years remaining after this year, where it's really kind of one. If he doesn't perform well, you cut him, and he's not much of a salary cap. He's a Band-Aid cornerback. He's not a long-term answer. So the Giants are going to need to find another cornerback, even if Julian Love pans out. So I do think a corner is possible. May not be the most likely in the first round. It all depends on where they pick, and if we have a college season, how these players perform. Coverage linebacker is definitely a need, though, as well as a strong edge rusher. So I think that's what I'm looking at in the first round this year. Second round, maybe you start to look center. If we're picking late first round, which I'm not anticipating, maybe you look center there. It all depends on where we're picking, but I think defense is where I'd be leaning in the first round. A lot of people like the wide receivers, and there's great ones in next year's class, but it's a very deep class. I think you can find a very good wide receiver in the second or third round. I'd rather spend that pick on defense as of now, if you ask me. Corner, coverage linebacker, edge rusher. Greg Rousseau's another name that people throw out there. Cruz on, man. Thanks so much for that, man. I really appreciate that. He says, for all the hate Flowers got, he was better than Hernandez last year. I will never understand why we didn't play Flowers at guard. Hey, I hated on Flowers. I'll be the first to tell you, and I think most Giant fans did. One thing I did say, and it was before I was on YouTube, I was always in favor of trying to shift him to the guard. He was better suited to play guard. I think most Giant fans realized that. He was a horrible tackle. The Redskins realized it. They played him at the guard. He played better. He played better than Hernandez last year. I do think Hernandez is going to take a big step forward this year, though, if we do have a season. I think playing next to Thomas should help him. But yeah, I agree with you. They should have played Flowers at the guard rather than trying him at the tackle. He couldn't bend his knees. He couldn't bend his knees. Malik, man, thanks so much for love, man. He says, I heard that Nate Solder's opt-out and would save us $9.9 million. Do you think we should pick up someone on the market and the rookies look good, Chris? Yeah, Malik, that's kind of what I've been talking about throughout the stream. I need to get more specifics with this. I'm reading all over Twitter. That's why I didn't make a video on this, because I'm like, I don't want to make a video of something I'm not 1,000% sure about. But I'm reading all over Twitter. If they spend money, even if it's on a 1-year deal, it affects next year's salary cap. Because I basically, the way I gathered it was this year, Nate Solder, 19.5 against the cap with a $16 million dead cap hit. Now, if you read it, it's 16 and 6. 16 against the cap, $6 million dead cap hit. If you spend that $10 million, does it get added to next year's cap? That's what I worry about. But if that's not the case, I'm all for spending the money on a 1-year deal. I don't want to sign guys to 2-3-year deals, but there's plenty of guys out there right now you can get on 1-year deals. Logan Ryan being one of them, probably. But thanks for that, man. I appreciate it. Malik says, the Pats are bad now, and they lost everyone. Cam Newton, blank. The Pats lost 2 huge names on the defense. Dante Hightower being the biggest one. And yeah, that's definitely going to hurt them. I was all aboard the Pats train once they got Cam Newton. I said they're going to be competitive. I'm not so sure now, but if there's any team that could overcome it, it's them. They're a team that gets the most out of their players. They could have college players on their team. I will never completely count out the New England Patriots. That's how much I respect Bill Belichick and that coaching staff, but obviously it's going to hurt them. Now, they did get an additional $25 million in cap space because of that. We'll see what they do with it. But yeah, I completely get that. Adam, man, thanks for loving, man. I appreciate it. He says, Ngakoue or Clownie? I am going Ngakoue. What about you? I'd rather have Ngakoue. I mean, if all things are equal, I'd rather have Ngakoue. The thing with Ngakoue is you got to trade for him. He got franchise tag, so you got to trade for him. And the only way I'm giving up anything of significance for Yannick is if I could keep him. If I know he's going to be here long term, he's going to cost at least a second-round pick. So that's what you have to factor in. He's also going to cost a lot more money. Clownie's going to be a 1-year, $13, $14 million deal more than likely. Ngakoue, you got to pay him I think it's like $18 million, whatever it is, on the franchise tag this year, and then you're going to have to sign him to an extension. But all things equal, Yannick's younger. He doesn't have much of an injury history. Yannick Ngakoue is a more valuable player at this point. Adam, man, thank you though again for love. I appreciate it. Simon, man, thank you so much, man. He says, you think Giants fans would have learned by now why the O-line is so important? Just ask Eli's therapist. The man has PTSD and sees flowers in his night. Simon, you're right. And a lot of younger Giant fans didn't get to see the beginning of Eli Manning's career, right? And you didn't realize, if you're a newer Giants fan, you don't realize how important that offensive line was to Eli Manning and the running game. You look at some of the running backs, and I'm not trying to bash Bradshaw. I love Ahmad Bradshaw, one of my favorite Giants. I'm not trying to bash Brandon Jacobs. I love Brandon Jacobs, one of my all-time favorite Giants. But these guys weren't world beaters. These guys weren't Saquon Barkley's first-round draft picks, Ezekiel Elliott's. But they had the best running attack in football because they had such a great offensive line. So, yeah, and Eli Manning fell off a cliff. From 2011 to 2013, it doesn't just happen overnight. He was one of the top 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks in the sport the year that we won that second Super Bowl, and then he fell off a cliff. The offensive line was held together by rubber bands. That second Super Bowl run, it wasn't even good at that point. Eli was able to put the team on his back, and everything just fell apart. Without an offensive line, it's hard to be a good football team in the NFL. Benjamin, man, thanks so much for love. He says, you love the hog mollies more than the ladies, and that concerns me heavily. Suspending Joe Kelly is a terrible decision, and Manfred needs to go. Like I said, I'm going to have to do more research on that before I could speak on it. I do love the Hogs, man. I do love the Hogs, Benjamin. But thank you to everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I kind of want to go live. And if you guys enjoy this, I see a lot of YouTubers do this midday. I'm free midday sometimes. Let me know in the chat if you guys want me to do this twice a week. Especially during the baseball season when I'm going to be covering a lot of Met games. If you guys want me to go live when there's something to talk about midday for a couple of hours, I'll make time to do it. So let me know. I just felt it was more appropriate today. But let me know in the chat if you guys like the live stream aspect midday. If you got nothing going on, I'll go live twice a week, like Tuesdays and Thursdays or something if you guys are interested in that. Bosa re-signed. Yeah, I saw that they extended him, which we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do with Ingram, but yeah, they extend him to a 5-year deal. So there's one less pass rusher on the open market. Yeah, do midday. All right, Elmo, I'll do midday. Word says I love this. Hell yeah, Dana. Please do more lives. All right, yeah, I'll make it a point to try to go live. Q&As during the day. I'll try to make it a point to go live and talk Giants with you guys. Do this more. Matthew says, all right, awesome, man. I love this live stream. All right, Deep Dish, man. I'll do it more often then, man. What's up, Yair? Who will start on the other side of Thomas? I've been asked that question a few times. It could be a number of guys. It definitely could. I'm going Fleming. They brought Fleming in. He's played in the league. He started in the league. They're paying him $4.5 million. I think he's the favorite right now. I don't think Parrott, especially with no preseason games, he was looked at as a project to begin with. As much as I want to see Parrott, as much as everybody else, I don't feel confident having two rookie tackles out there for Daniel Jones learning a brand new offense. So I think Fleming's probably the favorite right now. Nick Gates probably the second favorite to start the season. But Parrott could very well take that job before the end of the year. Malik, man, thank you so much for love, man. I really appreciate it. What about that corner from Oklahoma, number 44, elite corner coming out 2021 draft, but we probably better, so we should look at a corner from Ohio State. Like I said, I got to do more research on all the prospects. I don't want to bullshit you. I got to look at all the prospects. But here's what I'll say: if there's an elite corner in next year's draft, the Giants could definitely take him. It's definitely a possibility. 100%. You can make an argument as much as we've spent at that position. After this year, if they don't work out, say you play Love out there and he doesn't work out, and we all hope he does. But say he doesn't work out as an outside corner, who do we have? We got nobody. We got Bradbury, but Bradbury's almost 30 years old. He's on a 2-year deal at that point. So it's definitely a possibility we could draft the corner. Cruz on, man. Thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. I like the hogs, and I like the women that look like hogs. Can't date a woman less than 300 pounds. Okay, Cruz on. I try to keep those separate, okay? I love hogs. I love women. But I don't like women, and, I don't like when they come together. Keep them separate, Cruz on. You keep them separate, and we're happy. But thanks for love. I appreciate it. DeFron Demonic, man. Thanks so much for love, man. I appreciate it. He says, hey, Dana, do you see the undrafted free agent Kyle Murphy making the team and having a significant role as a swing tackle lineman this season, loving our depth? Yes. That's a guy we got to talk about. A lot of people liked him and thought he had an opportunity to make the team. And I always said there's no way when you look at this team. I thought that we had 9 set offensive linemen. That being, at the time, Nate Solder, Matt Parrott, Nick Gates, Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux, Spencer Pulley, Will Hernandez, Kevin Zeitler, and I'm forgetting somebody. But he wasn't one of them. And I always thought that we had a set 9. But now that Solder's gone, yes, I think it opens up the opportunity for him if we don't bring in another lineman to make the team. I think the Giants will go with 9 linemen, and I think he could very well make the team. That's a good one. That's definitely an undrafted free agent that has an opportunity now. Thanks for love, man. Mike, man, thanks so much for love, man. It shows how bad the O-line was in the NFC title game. I respect Eli. He could have given up in the NFC title game. He was on the ground every time. He got hit like 40 times in that game, Mike. He must have broke every rib in his body. I mean, he got killed in that game. He got crushed. Benjamin, man, thanks for love, man. I appreciate it. He says, yeah, I'm rooting for Kyle Murphy. I think he's got a good shot to make the team, Henny. Benjamin says, open to strip clubs. The economy sucks. Strippers need to work. Newsom is dumb. The man would rather reopen outdoor salons than strip clubs. This guy loves strip clubs. Strip clubs are the last place you ever want to be right now. I promise you. Bryce, man, thanks for love, man. I appreciate it. He says, how do you think we will start off the season if everyone is healthy? Like Danny, Golden, Shepard, Ingram, Saquon, and Slayton. I like our offense. I do. Now, a lot of it's going to depend on the offensive line, though. And it is fair to have concerns about the offensive line. You've got a rookie left tackle who we all love and we all think is going to be a great tackle, but he's never played yet in the NFL. He doesn't have a normal offseason, so that's a concern going in, him playing on the left side. And now we have a guy on right tackle that we didn't think was going to start. I like the guards. The center's a huge question mark. But if we could get average offensive line play, I think we're going to have a good offense. Early on in the season, though, I'm going to ask everybody in here, be patient. We're playing some great defenses. You're playing the 49ers. You're playing the Steelers. The Rams have some very good talent on defense. The Redskins even have a good defense. The Cowboys have a pretty good defense. We're playing very good defenses to start the season. So be patient. Let the offensive line gel, mature, and get better. We may get off to a slow start offensively, but by the end of the year, if this offensive line gels the way I think it can with Andrew Thomas, I do think we could have a top 10 to 12 offense and in the league over the last 8 to 10 games or so. I do like the prospect of our offense for probably the second half of this season and going forward. But a lot of it's going to come down to that offensive line. As far as the weapons go, I like our weapons. If they're healthy, Evan Ingram's a top 4 or 5 tight end in the league in terms of catching the football and being a matchup nightmare at the tight end position. Golden Tate's a very good slot receiver, even though we'll probably be playing on the outside, but to me, he's an underrated player in the Giants, and it's because he's old. He's not a part of the future of this team. Last year, he would have had 1,000 yards if he played all 16 games. Shepard's a good player, well-rounded wide receiver, good blocker, and I think Darius Slayton will be good. I think the Giants' weapons are fine if they're healthy. Do I think they're elite? No, but I think they're adequate. I think they're good enough, especially when you factor in Saquon Barkley, to move the chains and be a good offense. But it's going to come down to that offensive line and, of course, Daniel Jones. And thank you for posting the Instagram. I really appreciate that, man. Use the Solder money and get Yannick. Well, that would be great. You got to trade to get Yannick, and you'd probably have to trade a player to offset the contract because Yannick makes more money than the cap space we have right now. I don't know exactly how that would work. I do think Yannick will be traded. I don't expect it to be to the New York Giants. I would be open to it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'd be surprised. The Colts make sense to me for Yannick, by the way. The Colts make a lot of sense, but the problem is they're in the same division. But the Colts could make sense. They have a lot of cap space. They're a win-now team. They need some help on that defense, but they're in the same division. That's the problem there. The Jets could make sense. They got some cap space now that they traded Jamal Adams. There's a couple teams that make sense. I don't know if the Giants make a lot of sense right now. What's going on, Nick Young, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Every time I use Sterling Shepard on Madden, he drops the ball. He's always getting concussions. That's the problem. Mets tonight, Chris. Yeah, I'll be doing the Mets tonight at I think the game starts at 7:10, so I'll be live at 6:55. Give up Leo Williams. Yeah, Leo Williams would probably have to be in the trade to offset the contracts. You'd probably have to put Leonard Williams in the trade. I agree. That's probably the only way it makes sense. Chris, is any quarterback more on the hot seat than Baker this season? There's a lot of quarterbacks on the hot seat. Cox, he's definitely one of them. Baker's got so much pressure because you look at that team, where's his excuse now? They signed a really good tight end. They added 2 really good tackles, one in the draft, one in free agency. He already had Odell Beckham. He's already got a lot of weapons. Baker's got no excuses this year. Baker Mayfield is firmly on the hot seat, but a lot of third-year quarterbacks are on the hot seat. Sam Darnold still has some excuses. They don't have great wide receivers, but you improve the offensive line. They spent a boatload in free agency. They spent their first-round pick on an offensive tackle. Sam Darnold's got a lot of pressure. I'm not saying the Jets got to make the playoffs, but Sam Darnold's got to improve. Josh Allen's got pressure, even though he made the playoffs last year. He's got to improve. A lot of those third-year quarterbacks have a lot of pressure this year, but Mayfield is definitely up there. Bryce, man, thanks so much for the love, man. I really appreciate it. Washington football defense is worse than Caden Smith. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man. The Washington defense I actually think is decent. It's their offense that I think is going to be horrible. I'm not a fan of their offense this year, but the I don't know what to call them. I want to call them the Redskins. I know that's no longer their name. The Washington team's defense is pretty good. They got good pass rushers. They got pretty good interior defensive linemen. It's the offense where I think they're gonna have a lot of struggles. Do you think Rosen's career is over for good? Rosen's been sports influencer. But by the way, go check him out. By the way, he always shows a lot of love to my channel. He's just been put in a situation to fail from the start. You couldn't have asked for a worse situation for a quarterback. He gets drafted to the Arizona Cardinals, then they trade away the pick to draft Kyler Murray. They had a horrible offensive line to begin with. And then last year he doesn't get an opportunity with Miami. It was basically a AAA team. So he's just been put in a situation to fail. It kind of sucks. I think the Colts could make sense for him as well if they move on from Rivers. What's going on, Dominic, man? Thanks so much for popping in the stream, man. Let's see what we got here. Yo, what up, Chris? Andrew, what's going on, man? Yeah, I figured I'd go live a little bit, talk about the cap situation with the New York Giants. I already talked about it, but I'll go over again briefly for anybody that might have popped in. Bryce, man, thanks so much for the love, man. He says, I'm saying they can't stop him or are... okay, my mistakes. That's right, he tore them up last year. In the game where Daniel Jones, I think, threw 5 touchdowns. Yeah, good call. They were not able to stop him. And I think the Giants will be able to move the ball on the Redskins defense. I agree with that. A healthy Saquon Barkley, that's another thing you got to look at. A healthy Saquon Barkley completely changes this team. Last year, Daniel Jones, look at the splits. With Barkley, without. 3 touchdowns, 6 picks without him. 21 touchdowns, 6 picks with him in 9 games. So he threw the same amount of picks in triple the amount of games. Granted, he went up against the New England Patriots in one of those games, and he went up against the another good defense. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he also played the Redskins in one of those 3 games without Saquon Barkley. A healthy Barkley is going to make Daniel Jones' life a lot easier, as it would for any quarterback. And Benjamin, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. Okay, strip clubs are important to a man's maturity. When my kids turn 18, they refuse to. Okay, I'm kicking them out. Bad Dog is my dad. You know this. God Almighty. Oh, God Almighty. Benjamin is the chat's horn dog. Here's my suggestion to all the kids in the chat. Just from my personal experience, save your money. Save your money. It's a waste of money. But I wanted to get into some of the just for anybody that may be popping in, the salary cap right now for the New York Giants. Here it is. This is according to SportTrack. This is with everything updated. That's what Marcus Golden signed. That's what the cornerback signed that the New York Giants just signed. That's what all the rookies signed. This is the figures. $14.677 million right now is the New York Giants cap space. Now the question, like I said at the top of the video, why I didn't make a video on it, because I don't want to be spreading false information. The question at hand is, if we spend money on one-year deals, will it affect next year's cap? If it does not, I'm all for spending that money to try to improve the team this year. But if it does, you stand pat. You do not want to make Nate Solder's dead cap hit, which is right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but his dead cap hit in 2021, after he opted out this year, is now only $6.5 million. If you spend the $10 million, does it go back up to 16? If that's the case, you stand pat. You don't spend the money. If there's no difference, spend the money. Sign a guy on a one-year deal. That's my mentality with it. Show the Eagles cap space. I don't have it in front of me, but it's like negative $50 million. It's like negative $50 million. Your daughter makes good money there, Larry. I'm assuming that you're talking about the clubs that Benjamin's talking about. Well, it's America. Make money where you can, Larry. That's what I'll say. And good for you, my man. Good for you, my man. And Cole says, "How is Chris singing?" I'm singling and mingling. Actually, no, that's my goal this year. I gotta join the club. I gotta start looking for a girlfriend, maybe turn into a wife. That's the goal this year. We gotta start getting back to dating once everything gets back to normal. So Solder got an extra contract for 2022. Not extra, Raymond. It basically just got pushed back, but the figures are lower. Let me pull it up for you one more time so I can explain it a little bit better. Going into this year, Nate Solder. All right, if you look at the money there, it's 9.6 now for this year, 16.4 and 14. If you add all that up, it equals $40 million. He was due to it was 19.5 against the cap this year, and I think it was 20.5 against the cap next year for a total of $40 million. But it would have concluded at the end of the 2021 season. Now it gets pushed back. It's a little bit less over the next 2 years, and there's no dead cap hit in 2022 as it's structured now. Like I said, if you spend and that changes that, I'm not spending. You want to keep the salary cap as clean as you possibly can, especially anticipating for a lowered salary cap or at least a frozen salary cap in the 2021 season. So those are the things that the New York Giants have to consider. And thank you for posting the movie channel, man. I really appreciate that, Bigger Mike. No, don't do it. Enjoy the single life. You don't have a biologic. That's true. That's true. There's no pressure here. Now, I don't want to be 60 and have my first born child, but you're right. There's no biological clock. All right, Cole, man. Thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it. And as far as Gano goes, I'm completely for that. I talked about that at the top of the stream as well. A veteran kicker. I don't really trust the guy that we brought in. I am for Gano. I'd be completely for Graham Gano. Yes. I for the right price, I'd be completely for bringing him in. 100%. It makes a lot of sense to add to the competition. Chris acting like he couldn't pull Beyonce. Yeah, right. And download. Oh yeah, thank you so much, Sports Influencer. That's right. That's my new sponsor. I don't like to push that on you guys, but it does help me out. It does help out the channel. If anybody would like, it's a really cool app. I partnered with them. If you download the app, I think Mike's been providing the link in the live stream. If you download it, it helps me, and I think it's a really cool app. I wouldn't have partnered with them if I didn't. Basically, what the app is it's an app where you could play Madden against some of your favorite athletes, and some of the Giants have been on there. Jabril Peppers is on there. I think Golden Tate was on there. So some of the Giants players play on there, and it's completely free, the app. You download it. Helps me, like I said. I'm partnered with them, and it's a cool app. You get an opportunity to play against some of your favorite athletes. So check it out. But thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Gano was, yes, the 63-yard field goal stealth, but maybe he'll make them for us. Now, the funny thing about Gano was he made the 63-yarder against us, and then the next week, he missed, I think, like 2 extra points or 2 30-yard field goals or whatever it was, and that's just the New York Giants' luck. Get a foreign woman. Let's see what we got here. And I appreciate that, Matthew Garcia, man. Thank you so much for loving me. Thank you to everybody for being here, by the way. And like I said, I asked you guys earlier, if you guys like this, I'll make this a thing. I know a lot of time people are at work. They don't got a lot to talk about. When there's something relevant to talk about, instead of making 5 videos in a day, maybe I'll make a video and I'll go live, twice a week. Just to talk Giants football with you guys, particularly right now with the baseball season, because I'm trying to do as many Met streams as I can. It gives me the opportunity to still talk Giants football with you guys live. So if you guys do enjoy this, let me know, and I'll continue to do it. My God, Asia. Ugh. Asia, you don't got to do that. Asia, I told you, you don't got to do that. I'm completely grateful. I really appreciate it. You really don't have to do that. But thank you very much. But you really don't have to do that. Thank you very much, man. She says, Chris, stand up, my sexy Dana. What's happened to the Mets yesterday? They've had one job, and you couldn't beat the Red Sox. NBA starts tonight. I'm so happy. Jazz, Pelicans, Clippers, Lakers. Please beat the Red Sox tonight. Only time I root for the Mets was 2015. Don't tell Bad Dog. What's going on, Jay, man? Thanks so much for popping into the stream. And Asia, thank you. Thank you, but again, you don't have to do that. But thank you. As far as the Mets go with the Red Sox, I'm at a loss for words right now. We're going to try our best to help you out tonight. Let's put it that way. And you don't root for us when we play the other American League East teams. When we play, as a Met fan, I'll be the first to say I'm not a big Yankee guy, but I root for you guys when you play the Braves, the Phillies, the Marlins. Anytime you can help me out, I'm rooting for you guys. So you should root for us when we play the Orioles, when we play the Rays, when we play the Blue Jays, when we play anybody in your division. You should root for us. But we're going to help you out tonight. We're going to get you a win. I have a good feeling. Mats is going to pitch well. Yo, Chris, buy her a ring, Jay said. Chris Stubbs says, what are you waiting for? I wish we didn't drop. We will finally solidify ourselves as the best in the East. I hope so. I hope so, Tommy, man. We'll see what we do, with this cap space. And like I said, I don't know if it affects next year's cap space. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I got to look into. Hey, Chris, did the Giants sign any of the undrafted wide receiver Giants? Okay, as far as what's going on, Gabe, man? Thanks so much for being here, man. As far as the undrafted free agent wide receivers go for the New York Giants, the only news I have with that, and I think they're all signed, but they're like deals that they could get out of. There's no dead cap hit. But Sills, is I don't know if he has COVID or somebody that he lives with has COVID. He's on the list for not being able to play with the New York Giants. That much I know. I don't know much else other than that. But Sills is on the COVID list. He was a guy that I was rooting for, a guy that I thought could fit the scheme very well, a tall wide receiver, strong in the red zone. He will not be probably making the team based on the fact that he's on the COVID list, and he was an undrafted free agent to begin with. So I have that news with the UDFAs. Yeah, Matz has to step up today, 100%. Matz pitched really well the first game. Second game, but the first game he pitched great. The bullpen blew it. Benjamin, thank you so much for love. And he says, Christopher and Asia Roberson. Oh, God, YouTube matchmakers, God almighty. No, I'm not here for love. But I appreciate it. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it, man. Let's see what we got. Who do you think will or won't start at right tackle? Yeah, AJ, I've been asked that a few times. I think it's going to be Fleming. I think Fleming will be the starting right tackle for the Giants. He's got experience. I think he'll be the starting right tackle. I'd be surprised if he's not. That's just my honest opinion. I think it'll be Fleming. It could be Gates. I'd be shocked if it's paired to start the season. There's no preseason games. You're not going to have two rookies starting on the offensive line to start the year. I'd be very surprised if they do that. Because you can't just think about development on the offensive line. You also have to think about the well-being of your quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it'll be Parrott. I know a lot of Giants fans want to see Parrott. They're excited to see him, a third-round draft pick. But I don't expect that. I think it'll be Fleming, and Gates has an outside opportunity. Let's see what we got here. First comes marriage, then comes baby Tane in a carriage. What's up, Andy Garcia, man? Thanks for being here, buddy. Gavin deserves a mod. He's been helping me out. Yes, I will, during the Mets game, come on in before the game starts. I'm not going to give him out during the stream. During the Mets game, if you guys come on in before it starts, I'll give Gavin a mod. Let's see what we got here. Who would you put at cornerback 2? Okay, so I got to see what the New York Giants do with the rest of their cap space, who they may bring in, whether it's Logan Ryan, whether it's, somebody on the roster. But if it's nobody from the outside, I think Julian Love right now is the favorite, if I had to guess. But a lot of people would probably like to see Love stay at the safety position. So I would say Love's the favorite right now, but that doesn't mean that Sam Beal can't get it. That doesn't mean that they don't sign somebody else. So it could be a free agent, but right now I would say the favorite is Love for the cornerback 2 position. But we'll see. That's going to be something definitely to cover as training camp gets into the fold. What's up, Road Dog, man? Thanks so much for being here, buddy. Let's see what we got here. Chris, is Kylie Jenner on speed dial? Sam, man, stop apologizing, man. We're going to wrap this up in about, we'll go to 3:30. I'll do these for 90 minutes. But you guys seem to like the midday shows. I figured I would try it out for the simple reason that I was like, you know what? I can't conclusively say that I 100% know everything accurate about this, so I'd rather go live and talk about it with you guys. But you guys seem to like it, so I'll try to go live at least like twice a week, midday, throughout the year. So you guys let me know the days, and I'll try to do it midday. Because right now at night I'm kind of focusing on baseball. Another thing I wanted to say, I talked about Bad Dog before I went live. Due to the fact that there's basketball, and obviously Bad Dog does the Lakers, and baseball, he does the Yankees, I do the Mets. We're going to be doing Talking Giants. We're going to push it back one more week because it's the opening season with basketball. We figure there's going to be a lot more relevant things to talk about with the New York Giants in a week. Once, hopefully, training camp gets back in the fold, that's when we're going to resume Talking Giants. So this week, we're not going to do it. Next week, we're going to start it back up. And obviously, every week going forward. So we're pushing it back 1 week due to the NBA and Major League Baseball. Bro, why is there Russell Wilson opt-out rumor? His wife expecting or something? Yeah, I doubt that happens, but you never know, Clocks. Nothing would shock me right now with everything that's going on. Sorry, I'm late, Chris. Was doing some, how much money we got we got to give to Bad Dog to kick? I don't know if Bad Dog would be a great kicker. I don't know. He always says he's more of a safety. Bryce, man, thanks for love, man. I feel Saquon is the leader for the offensive line. I've seen videos of him helping them what to do and coach them, and I feel like that's good chemistry. It's a good point you bring up. And the other thing that you want to bring up is the new running backs coach. Barkley said great things about him too, and that should help Barkley with his pass blocking. At least I think so. From what you hear, Mark Ingram had nothing but great things to say about him. A healthy Saquon Barkley is going to help everybody. The offensive line last year wasn't good, but there were a lot of contributing factors that made it look worse than it probably really was. a rookie quarterback and a banged up Saquon Barkley. A healthy Saquon Barkley makes everybody look better. It makes the receivers look better. It makes the offensive line look better. And it makes the quarterback look better. He's by far our most important player on the offense. It's not even a debate. So, we'll see what Burton Burns does for Barkley. I think he's a team guy. I definitely think he's the leader. I think he's the leader. Him and Jones. I think Jones has definitely assumed a lot of the leadership responsibilities this offseason. I expect him to get a captain's badge. But, I still say Barkley's probably the biggest leader on the offense. Let's see what we got here. Have you seen the New York Giants rookies play? Chris Williamson looks like a stud safety linebacker. I've seen highlights of him, Timmy. Not much else. I think he'll probably make the team. I don't think he's going to really play much, but I think he'll make the team. A lot of people think he's going to be a safety. I don't really see how he get an opportunity to play without injuries, but yeah, he'll probably make the team. What's going on, Mercedes-Benz, man? Thanks so much for being here, buddy. Cap space, you want to know the cap space? Is that what you're asking about? I showed it earlier, but this is let me just pull it up for you real quick. That right there in the gray number, according to Sport Track, as of now, this is completely updated. That's including the Marcus Golden. That's including every rookie contract. That's including the cornerback that we just signed. I did a video on a couple of days ago. That's including everybody. That bottom number, $14.677 million right now is what the New York Giants have in cap, according to Sport Track. Take that for what you will. It might be an estimate. It might be a little off, but that's pretty close to about what we have, about $15 million. So there you go. There's your cap space right now. And thank you for posting the movie channel. I appreciate that. Anyone want to bet Leonard Williams is in Gettleman's will at this point? LF's the man. What's up, LF? LF is a big hog molly guy. I always see him in my comments defending the hog mollies, and me and LF, we could get along. I'm a hog molly guy myself, man. So thanks for popping in the stream. And at this point, I think Leonard Williams is probably in Dave Gettleman's will. I think if Leonard Williams isn't married, Gettleman will probably be his best man. Actually, LF. And we got 200 likes, man. I really appreciate that. Anybody that hasn't done so, please hit that like, subscribe, ring the bell. Like I said, I'll try to do these twice a week going forward. If you guys enjoy these, I'll go live midday, talk New York Giants football. Let's see what we got here. I would be better at center than Alapio, and I'm old and under 200 pounds. No, Daniel. No, you wouldn't. Alapio's bad, though, but I promise you wouldn't be. Rec, man, thanks so much for love, man. I really appreciate it. How is the draft going to be Great question. Great question. I was on Jets 24/7's channel. I had a really good time talking with him. Great guy. I'll probably work with him more in the future. I think it's cool to have a New York dynamic, Jets and Giants. And he brought up the same exact point that you just did. How are we going to evaluate players? And here's what I'll say. Much like this year's draft, if the New York Giants keep the coaching staff intact, which hopefully they do, they might be at an advantage because a lot of these coaches coached in college the previous year. They've recruited a lot of these players. They've coached against a lot of these players, and it'll be the same thing for next year's draft class. So the Giants may be at a bit of an advantage when evaluating these players, but you're only going to be able to go off of the year before's tape and a workout at a combine. But other than that, if they don't play, I don't know how else you could do it. But the Giants may actually be at an advantage compared to the rest of the competition, if that makes sense. Because, I mean, look at all the college coaches we've brought in on our coaching staff that were coaching college the year before. At least 4 of our coaches. I mean, so that should help in the evaluation with some of these players. But obviously, you're not going to have the traditional evaluation process. So it'll definitely be a challenge. And you're probably going to see a lot more first-round flops because you see it all the time. Look at the mock drafts from 2 years ago before the season started and after the season ended in college football. It's a dramatic difference. If this would happen the year before, Joe Burrow's not a first-round pick. So it definitely alters everything. And Benjamin, man, thanks so much for love. You don't use Tinder and Asia loves you, man. Oh, you guys are just going to pick on me the whole time. Benjamin, man, thanks for love, man. Can I sign up for the draft? Cody, if you can, if you're of age, yeah. I can't. You probably won't get drafted, but you could try. Yannick and Jags D-end opting out. Is that true? Yannick opted out. If that's true, that doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you. He didn't want to play to begin with. He probably looks at it like, I'll take the season off. I'll get my $300,000, plus whatever he's guaranteed in his contract. He'll rest, he'll recoup, and he'll come back next year and get his contract. But the thing is, if he opted out, he's still going to be under the franchise tag next year. Everything just gets pushed forward another year. So he won't be a free agent next year, if that's accurate. Thanks for streaming early today, Chris. Looking forward to you got it, man, Lake Nona. Clocks, I always look forward to the Little League World Series. Oh, God, yeah, the Little League World Series is the best. I love the Little League World Series. Yannick coming to the Giants? I don't think so, but you could hope. Yannick didn't opt out. All right, it was a lie. Okay, he didn't opt out. Let's see what we got here. Unless you think Wentz is better than Dak, then you're good. How about that, GOAT? I think Wentz is better than Dak. I think Wentz is better than Dak, if I'm being completely honest with you. One thing, I was talking to the people in my Discord last night, and GOAT, he's probably talking to GOAT, who's in my Discord, who's a big Cowboys fan. Great subscriber of mine. I'm sick of these videos. Since I've been on YouTube for 2 years. I'm not talking about from one specific YouTuber. I've seen Dak versus Carson Wentz videos. I must have seen 1,000 of them. I mean, at this point, we know your opinion. I don't need to keep hearing about it. Okay? Daniel Jones is going to be better than both of them. Maybe I'm showing too much confidence. But I'm sick of hearing Dak versus Wentz. Let's move on. You like your quarterback. The Cowboys like their quarterback. Let's move on. I don't think Dak's going to be there long term. I don't think Dak's going to be there for more than another year. He might get franchise tagged another year. I don't think the Cowboys are keeping him there long term. DJ will be the best in the division by next year. I sure hope so, man. I like the confidence, man. Goodell looked like someone who had a gun to his head, Lawman said. Have they paid Dak yet? They gave him the franchise tag. That's it. They gave him the franchise tag. Thanks, Chris, for doing the live chat. I got to go. Take care. Go Giants, man. Thank you so much for being here, John. I hope you had a good time. And like I said, I'll try to do these more often midday. Seems like a lot of people came in during the midday, so I'll do this more often. I love talking Giants, man, and the midday is actually easier for me, especially now that I'm streaming games. I'm going to be streaming the Mets, the Knicks. So if a lot of people come in for the middays when there's stuff to talk about, we'll do that. We'll hang out. We'll talk Giants for, an hour and a half, whatever it may be. I appreciate everybody for being here, and I always try to say it as much as I can, man. Thank you guys for everything you do for my channel. Whether it's watch my videos, whether it's share it out with your friends on Twitter, give me information on Twitter. So many of you guys do that on Instagram. Whenever something drops, whether it's in my Discord, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's in Twitter, I've got 10 messages in my inbox. Oh, Chris, you got to make a video. Giants just got this guy. Giants just got that. I can't say thank you enough for everything you guys do for me on my channel. I love you guys. So thank you. And I appreciate that, Edward, man. Thank you very much. Who do you think starts at center? I think it's going to be Spencer Pulley. Spencer Pulley. Is there a possibility we bring in an extra tackle? I don't think so. I really don't think so. And thank you, Afghanistan. I really don't think we're going to bring in another tackle because we're pretty deep at that position to begin with. We've got guys that could step in. I wouldn't use that money at the tackle. I think we've got other areas of need that are more important right now. There he is, Butch's Block. What's going on, my man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. I appreciate that, Edward Ash, man. I appreciate that. What say you? Thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it, man. Used to be a nice. Yeah, I hear you, Lawman. Sometimes listen, man. On my channel, I don't like to talk about politics. I like to talk strictly about sports. With the climate and everything, I felt like I needed to say something. But in the future, I'm staying away from it. I don't like to talk politics on my channel unless I feel like I absolutely have to. So don't expect it from me. I try to stick to sports. I think politics divides people. I think sports unites people. So I only talk about it when I think it's incredibly appropriate to do so. But I try to stay away from politics. What's going on, DJB? B. Holmes says Andrew Thomas playing left or right. He's going to play left now. Definitely playing left. I don't see any chance that he plays right. You're not putting Cam Fleming at left tackle. He's playing left tackle. My dog just got neutered. I'm sure he is. I'd be depressed too if I was neutered. Tell me about it, Nathaniel. Bases loaded, nobody out. The Mets couldn't get 2 runs. Tell me about it. Did Saquon get snubbed on the top 100? I'm going to say no, actually. Now, is he better than 31? Yes, but he was hurt last year. So I think that's a fair ranking. Now, the rest of the list, you want to talk, that list is irrelevant. I'm sorry. The top 100 list is completely irrelevant. First off, Pat Mahomes wasn't 1, which is ridiculous. Pat Mahomes was 4. He should be number 1. Secondly, okay, let's get this out of the way. How is Kyler Murray? And I know there's a lot of Kyler Murray fans in here. Okay, I tweeted about it. And I'm not saying he can't be a great quarterback. He could be. He's got talent. He went number one for a reason. Off the year he had last year, how is Kyler Murray in the top 100 quarterbacks? How? 100 players, rather. He had the 27th highest touchdown percentage in the NFL. He had the 23rd highest interception percentage in the NFL. He had the 21st highest, I think it was 24-25 actually, highest QB rating. He was 19th in completion percentage. He had 20 touchdowns in 16 games. How is Kyler Murray in the top 100? That list is completely irrelevant. Bobby, man, thanks so much for love, man. Politics divide, sports unite. That's right, man. Yeah, they put Lamar Jackson over. It's a joke. Yankees, New York's team. That's my team, Joe Judge. I'm a Met fan, man. I'll always be a Met fan. I've been a Met fan since birth, man. Yeah, the top 100 is a joke. Henny God. Top 100 is a joke. AJ Marshall, I'm not going to scream about it. I understand why Jackson's won, but then Mahomes should be 2. Mahomes won a Super Bowl. He's coming off a year in which he went through 50 touchdowns in the MVP. Mahomes has got to be higher than 4. Chris, your opinion, who has more talent, Tua, Burrow, Kyler, or Lawrence? Ooh, that's a good one. Definitely, I would go Lawrence or, I'd probably go Lawrence. If I had to pick one. Now, a lot of that's going to depend on what situation they get put into in the pros. That has as much to do with success for a quarterback as anything else, but I'll probably go with Lawrence there. Can you see a situation that Bill Belichick becomes the GM? Yeah, anything's possible. Do I think it's likely? No, but anything's possible. Maybe that's in his master plan. Maybe that's in Bill Belichick's master plan. I don't understand how Cook is over Saquon. Yeah, the only thing that makes sense with the Saquon thing is he was hurt last year. So that's why I'm like, all right, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But if Barkley stays healthy this year, he'll be top 10. He'll be top 10. He's that good. He's got to stay healthy, though. Let's see what we got here. Let's make a deal, Chris. If your Giants win more than 8 games, then you root for the... No, Jake. No deals. No deals. No deals. Yeah, I think Lawrence is going to be really good. What's going on, Justin Leone? Chris, do you think CMC is better than Zeke and Barkley? Definitely not better than Zeke. I mean, definitely better than Zeke. I'd rather have Barkley, but I'm not going to say that you're crazy for saying McCaffrey. McCaffrey's coming off an all-time great year. If you're talking pure talent, though, I'm still taking Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon Barkley is just far and away just supremely gifted. But in terms of production, it's hard not to say McCaffrey. McCaffrey was far and away the best running back last year. So I can't say you're wrong if you say McCaffrey's the best back. I'd rather have Saquon, but I can't say you're wrong. But I think that's a clear 1 and 2. And after them, there's a big drop-off. I personally have Zeke third, but not even close to the first 2. I think it's 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 3's like down here. I don't think it's very close after the top 2. Let's see what we got here. Just hopped out of the shower. What it do, Gabe, man. Thanks for popping in the stream. We're going to be live for 8 more minutes. Hopefully you enjoyed your shower. Chris, can you replace all the water you own with vodka? I'd probably pass out on stream. That'd probably be a problem. Yeah, probably pass out on stream. Join says, what are you going to do? We don't have Nate Solder this season. We're going to start Cam Fleming. That's what we're going to do. That's our only choice. And if he doesn't work out, you're going to put Nick Gates there. And if he doesn't work out, Matt Parrott's going to go there. I don't think we're going to sign another tackle. Where was Russell Wilson on the bogus list of... I think he was second. I don't have it in front of me, but I think he was second. Yeah, Solder's gone. Well, man, he opted out. And I can't blame him. The guy's got a sick kid at home. I think he made the right decision. And I think he would have played horrible, like I said in my video yesterday, if he stayed. He would have been thinking about his kid every game, just like last year. So I think it was the right decision for Solder. I'm happy that he moved on. Solder's a great guy, everything you hear about him. But he shouldn't be playing football. Not in these conditions. Not with his kid. I really feel ignored today, so I am done for today. But see you soon. Javon? I don't know what to do. There was 340, 350 people in here at one point. I can't see everybody's name. I don't ignore anybody. And that's what I guess I don't like about the live stream sometimes. I can't see everybody's name. I can't get to every question. Can't do it. I try my best. But have a good one, my man. Let's see what we got here. When do you think you're going to get an inside source for the Giants? Hopefully soon. That'd be sick. That'd be awesome. But I never lie to you guys. I don't pretend like I have one, like some people do on YouTube. I don't have one. I got a little bit of one, but not one that I can definitely say is a legitimate inside source. So hopefully I get one day. That'd be amazing. I'd probably have to work for the Giants to get a legitimate inside source. What's up, Julie, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Any chances Gettleman saves extra money for Solder and doesn't spend this year's cap? Michael Mooch says. Yes, I think there is a chance. Like I said at the top of the show, and I think it's all dependent on if they spend some of this money, will it affect next year's cap? And if it does, I don't think they should spend it. I think they should let it roll over so Nate Solder isn't as much of a cap hit. If you could just spend the money, it's not going to affect next year's cap or Nate Solder's contract, spend the money on a one-year deal. So like I said, I'm not 1,000% sure of how that works. I've heard conflicting reports on both sides. Would you trade Evan Ingram and Jabril Peppers for Denzel Ward? They wouldn't. They only got 1 year left on their deals. They wouldn't do that. I don't think they would. They wouldn't do it. Chris, would you be more shocked if the NFL got a full season or less shocked? I'm leaning that we will not get a full season. I'm leaning we're going to get a season, but I'm leaning that we will not get a full season. I hope we do, and I'm still being positive. I'm just going by what the NFL says. I'm following what they say. As of now, it sounds like they're going to, but if you asked me, is it more likely they will get a full season or a shortened season, I will lean shortened season. But that doesn't mean that'll happen. We might get a full season. It's just a guessing game right now, clocks. Chris, should we target a center with the remaining cap? I'm completely for it. Yeah. If there's one out there now, Britt's the best one. He's coming off an injury. He's not a very proven center. It depends on how they feel about the guys on their roster. If they feel like Lemieux could do the job, they probably won't do it. Pulley sucks. But if they feel like there's a big upgrade out there and it's not going to be that much money, sure, bring them in. The center position's a huge problem right now. Do you think Josh Gordon is too much of a problem to take a chance on? See, I think the problem thing is overblown with Josh Gordon, personally. I think it's overblown, and the guy's an idiot, but he's not a guy that... He's never been a guy that's been bad to his teammates. He's been a guy that does drugs. He smokes weed. And with the new drug policy, I wouldn't be against it. Do I think the Giants will bring him in? No, I'd be surprised if they do. Don't expect it. And especially with here's the other thing. If you're Dave Gettleman, right? Think about this. You have a fan base that is killing Dave Gettleman for what DeAndre Baker did off the field because of pre-draft red flags. And they're killing him for it. And for all the fans that complain, why don't they take chances on guys like Josh Gordon? Well, when you complain for why they took DeAndre Baker with the red flags, he's not going to go out there and then bring in Josh Gordon, because if Josh Gordon smokes weed and gets kicked off the team, that's the next thing that'll come out of everybody's mouth. Well, how did they bring in Josh Gordon? He had red flags. Culture. So you can't have it both ways. If you're going to complain that he drafted DeAndre Baker because of pre-draft red flags and took a shot, you can't then say to yourself, oh, well, why don't they go out and bring in Josh Gordon? The guy's got talent. Yeah, but he's got red flags. So if we bring him on and he smokes a joint and he gets kicked off the team, are you going to jump down Dave Gettleman's throat for that? So you can't have it both ways. For people that complained about Baker, don't expect them to bring in Gordon. That's my take with that. With players opting out and the cancellation of preseason, do you think it will affect do you think it'll affect the teams? Yes, I think it's going to affect a lot of teams, to be completely honest with you. The Giants being more so than most of them because they have a completely new coaching staff and young players. I thought they were allowed. There's a alteration to the drug policy. I think you could test within the first 2 weeks. I don't know everything though. I'm in Italy and the solutions adapted for professional sports are working for now. Well, Alex, hopefully they keep up there, and hopefully baseball is doing a pretty good job. Now, the Marlins, that happened with the Florida baseball team here, but overall, we're doing a pretty good job. Hopefully it keeps up. Basketball, I think it's going to work because they're in a bubble. The NFL, I think there's reason to have a little bit of skepticism. Ask me Diaz or Betances. Right now, I'll stick with Diaz, but if he doesn't improve, I would quickly go to Betances. Do you think leasing or buying a new car? It depends. If you're somebody that doesn't keep their car neat, probably buy one. Because a lease, if there's any little scratch on it, it's going to cost you. You got to get it fixed. Greg, man, thanks so much for love. He says, do you think we signed Clownie with the extra cap? No, I don't. I would be very surprised. I don't think we're going to bring in Clownie. We may, like I said, we may make a couple of small signings. I don't expect anyone big still. I still don't. I wouldn't be upset, but I don't expect it. Too early for 2021 free agency class video with our cap situation. Yeah, look, Michael, I don't want to jump the gun yet because I want to see. Trust me, you're going to get a lot of those videos. Trust me. But I'm kind of waiting until it's appropriate, till we see, one, if there's a season this year. Two, evaluate the talent on this roster and see where we need to improve on free agency. Because, yeah, right now I tell you we probably need a receiver. We need an edge rush. But what if these guys mature? What if these guys get better? And we have to see who gets extended, who gets franchise tagged. You've already seen Bosa get extended. We don't know who's going to be available. So I'm kind of waiting till at least mid-season to start to look into that, till we get to evaluate some of the players on the roster. But if you remember my channel during the offseason, you know you're going to get a ton of that. But I think it's kind of a meaningless video right now. So that's why I haven't done any of that stuff yet. I'm kind of waiting to evaluate the team, get to the midway point, week 8, week 9, and then start to look into that stuff. The guy just wants his comment answered. What comment, sports expert? What comment? Brian, is it Brian? How many wins for Gettleman to save his job? All right, sorry you got timed out, man. I don't know. Maybe it was an accident. If you're still in here, I'm sorry if you got timed out. How many wins for Gettleman to save his job? I think it's going to be 7 wins for sure, saves his job. 6 wins, he's on the fence. 5 wins, good chance he's gone. 4 wins or less, he's definitely gone. So I would say 5 wins, it becomes a discussion. 6 wins, it's 50-50. 7 wins or more, I think he saves his job. That's my prediction. That might not be fair based on the schedule they have and the young coaching staff, but that's just my honest prediction based on the things the ownership has said. Mets playing today? Yeah, the Mets are playing at 7:10. I'll be live at 6:55 for that, man. I would take the extra money and start looking to extend Saquon and Tomlinson. I think that's what they're going to do, if I had to guess. Like I said, they might make a couple of small signings like Carr, a cheap cornerback, a cheap offensive lineman, a depth player, but I don't see them going out there and spending a boatload of money on some of these big-name free agents. I agree with you. I'm completely with you on that. Chris, you think it's possible Parrott takes that starting? No, mid-season maybe, not preseason. Mid-season maybe, yes. That's all dependent on how Fleming's playing, and Nick Gates as well. But yes, I think it's possible if he's ready, yes. Chris, nice hat. I appreciate that, Lake Nona. And Stupid Video says Mets are poo-poo. Guys, it's 3:32. I said I was going to go to 3:30. I just want to pop on and talk to you guys for a bit. Like I said, seems like you guys enjoy these a lot. I'll be doing these more often. I'll definitely be doing these more often. And Asia, thank you so much for love. Thank you. She says, how come the MLB didn't do a bubble like the NBA and NFL? We wouldn't be in this predicament right now. Well, the thing with the MLB, I guess you could. Do you have the facility that could do it, and are the players willing to do it? That's the thing. Is the Players Association willing to do it? And it's also more players. The NBA, like I said earlier, it's only 12 players. Major League Baseball, it's double that. Football, it's quadruple that. Do you have a facility that's big enough for all the players to be there? But yeah, in an ideal world, that would work. Obviously, there was something where the players weren't willing to do it. But yeah, in an ideal world, that is probably the best case scenario. But thank you to everybody for being here. Like I said, I'm going to try to do these. The season's not that long anymore, though. It's only 2 months because it's 60 games. But like I said, I'm going to do these more often during the midday, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys come back. Obviously I'll wait till there's something to talk about. But whenever there's something to talk about, I'll try to go live at least once or twice a week. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. If you're Met fans, baseball fans, or just want a place to hang out tonight, I will be live for the Mets game starting at about 6:55. Game starts at 7:10. That should be fun. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. Go New York Giants. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it.